push it too far.
Yeah, 30 minutes. I got it.
All right.
I'm horrible at
Good afternoon,
time.
everybody.
Horrible.
What's wrong with you? My name is Chanda Cooper. I'm the membership chair for EEASC. This is the Environmental Education Association of South Carolina. I also work for the Richland Conservation District, so you may have seen my name associated with that group. But we're glad you're here today. EEASC is a nonprofit professional organization for teachers and environmental educators. It provides networking opportunities, it has workshops and professional development programs. We do a conference in the summer, we have a newsletter, and they also do some kind of statewide organizing and advocacy work related to environmental education. So if you're not a member, and many of you are, we hope you will consider joining. We do have all the information about EEASC, some membership sign-up forms if you'd like to join today, or if you want to just sign up for our newsletter list, you can also do that. Our next event, we're trying to do a workshop series here in the Midlands. So our next event right now is scheduled for March 17th, and it's a teacher's tour at City Roots Farm, which is an in-town organic farm here in Columbia. And it's going to be a lot of fun. We'll get to see their aquaponics operation and composting and bees and chickens and organic vegetables. So hope you can come. There's also information here about a lot of other opportunities. There's a Project Learning Tree Environmental Education Curriculum Workshop at Benedict College coming up in February. We've got Principal and Teacher of the Year Awards, Conservation Teacher and Principal of the Year Awards. If you live in Richland County and you know somebody that deserves one of those awards, please nominate them by April. If you're in a Richland County school, we have mini grants. My office has $250 mini grants, and then EEASC has $300 mini grants. If you have a project at a school, you can apply for those. And
give me some.
Yeah. My office is sponsoring a poster contest for students in K through 12th grade on the topic "We All Need Trees," and there are cash prizes for that. So there's information about all of those things on this table, and please come help yourself during the course of the workshop. Last thing I need to say is, before you leave, we do have a little evaluation form. If you can tell us what you enjoyed about today, anything we could do different or better next time, and then any other topics that you'd like to hear at a future event, just let us know. And let's see, a couple more things. EEASC does have some opportunities to serve. If you'd like to become more involved in the organization, we have openings on several committees. There's a resource development, communications, education committee, the membership committee. So if you're interested in learning more about the organization and what it does and helping kind of on that side of things, let me know. You can sign up here. And lastly, do you have anything to add, Jane? Okay. Lastly, we really want to thank the Columbia Islamic School for hosting us today. They've put out a great spread for us, and they've got lots of great information that they're going to share. So I'll turn it over to Principal Irene Adly.
Go ahead. You ready?
Give us a welcome.
Well, the first welcome was spilling all that water, but I call myself helping. But anyway, welcome. It's very nice. I'm looking forward to meeting all of you. Some of you already know, and I hope we can make an alliance so that you guys can feel more with us, and we can open our arms more often. We were very excited, and we are. And we will do it again. Next time I can make dinner. But that's it. I have my tremendous administrative assistant here, who's also my environmental teacher. She teaches environmental science on Fridays. We just focus Friday for special, computer engineering, different subjects that we slot out Fridays for that. So she's our very special teacher. She has our vermicompost and last year our garden and just so many things. But I'm going to turn it over to her because she's going to talk to you about self-watering plants. Right?
Hi, I am Jessica. I am normally Monday through Thursday in the office and scurrying after most of our students here at Columbia Islamic School. So most of them will tell you I am the one who yells at me. But on Fridays, like Sister
Farida told you, I am the one who teaches our environment class, which is currently doing mobiles on the environment and everything we've learned thus far about the environment and our habitats and all of that, which is pretty cool. We're using everything and anything we can find to build our mobiles. But last year we were building self-watering planter pots, which was all about hydroponics, which they don't know was all about hydroponics, but essentially it was, and I will run to the back and get one that our last year.
From that
Right
end
up
where
front.
your stuff is, that's fine.
Okay, so we'll switch over to the front of our. And,
There's the advantage of having a neck that you can turn it this way or that way. You don't have to move everybody.
this was one that is still going strong. This is actually probably about the second or third haircut that this plant has had. It's had many, many babies of its own, and actually you guys will be getting cuttings of these plants if you are interested in taking some home for yourself, trying this out for your own. We've got plenty of soda bottles. If you guys want to give this a shot for yourself, I have extra drills in the kitchen that are charged and ready to go. I'm more than happy to show you how to do this. I believe, I want to say Musa Bakr was a 4th grader when he did this one last year. As you can see, we used a straw. Straws are pretty easy to come by, pretty cheap, pretty easy to afford. Soda bottle, I think one of the kids just brought one home from, using it from a party they had the weekend before. This was one of the plants that the imam had, one of the gardeners, landscapers had over the course of the season was using, and it was starting to turn seasons and wither away, and we just took it upstairs, and this is probably its 3rd year surviving. They're not supposed to survive more than a year, but once we brought it inside, it's actually turned perennial, which is pretty awesome. And this is its 3rd year surviving. As you can see, its roots have gone pretty haywire. But the reason why we didn't cover over this one, there's another one floating around that's got like pretty funky looking duct tape all over it, and it's all decorated. We decorated some of them. Those were the girls' choices or the teachers' choices. We left it up to them. Some of the kids chose to leave them clear because we wanted to see its root system. We wanted to see how a plant grew. We wanted to see if each root system was the same. Did every plant grow the same? We have another plant over there, different plant, whose root system is completely different. It's sort of rounded around the bottom, just the bottom. We saw its root go straight to the bottom and just go around. It was really cool, really interesting to see how each plant is different. So that was what we focused on last year, which was propagation and, hydroponics, which was pretty cool, different way of attracting our kids to gardening and different types of getting their hands into the earth, getting them to focus on what they can do to get back into just what's important, which is, not a video game or the internet or the television, So this is really simple. This is really straightforward. Everything that you need is pretty much attached. The only thing that you would need to add to it is the straw and a drill. Now, for the drill, for the younger kids, I pre-drilled it and I let them, cut the soda bottle open. For the older kids, with my supervision, I allowed them to feel, like they were being the big kids that they were, and hand over hand let them drill the holes into the soda bottles themselves. But again, let them cut open the soda bottles. Essentially, you invert and it slides down. It cannot be a curvaceous, as we like to call them, soda bottle. The reason why it can't be a curvaceous soda bottle is because it will stop midway. It has to be able to slide smoothly through so that it will sink to the bottom and form its reservoir. Reservoir forms at the bottom. You cut open a little slot so that there's a runoff opening so that you don't overwater the bottom at the bottom. If there's too much runoff at the bottom, obviously it'll get waterlogged, and then there won't be a way for it to save itself. The whole reason we went with this particular one, and I kind of came across a version of it on YouTube from a guy who didn't really like gardening himself in the ground, and came across this version himself on another version of YouTube, and we went with this one because there's no real, it's kind of foolproof. You're watering through the straw. You're not watering the plant. The plant is taking the water that it needs from the reservoir, essentially the way any plant would have taken its water from the ground. It's pretty much the way the plant would have done it in its natural environment, with the exception of it's getting its water from you maybe once a week, rather than you watering it every day and you're not realizing you're overwatering your plants, and which is a common case for our little ones who don't realize they're overwatering their plants and giving it too much love, which we like to call it most days. So really straightforward, really simple, really fun to do with our kids. What we did last year is we did it with duct tape. If you're more if you lean forward to painting, I tell you to just grab a sander, sand it down really quickly. It just gives it a coarser surface. Coarser surface makes it able to paint it. You may give it a coarse surface, wipe it down with a damp towel. That makes you able to paint it with any type of paint you like, and that way your kids can paint it however you want to paint it. That way it doesn't have to be taped, sticky, makes it harder to do those things, then it makes it a fun project for pre-K and K. Any questions for this?
Did you take them home or did you keep them here?
Both.
Okay.
For Brother Brown, he let the kids go crazy with it. He let them do it with water bottles. He let them do it with all kinds of bottles, and then the end result, I try to tell them stray away from that. It doesn't really give them a good growth when you do it with things like water bottles. I tell them.
But you know what? Last year there were so many of them. I took a couple home.
Yeah.
And I just said, I threw them on the front porch. I just said, whatever, fend for yourself. I never watered it.
Okay.
And you should see how they're growing.
Yeah, essentially,
okay.
They're growing like that because I put them in pots.
No. I'll just bring it and show it to you, okay?
Yes.
I'm going to take a picture. If you leave me your email, I'll send you the picture.
Anyway, so then there's this. This is one that's really fun to do, that you can do with any kid because it's really bendy and really easy to do. Any kid can drink a bottle of soda within a week's time, easy, and bring it back to you in a school week and be like, yeah, let's do this. And you have a whole classroom with a bottle of soda, and you can take it home, and the kid can be super proud to have done this and show it to their parents, and their parents can be super proud because their kid brought something that's self-sustaining. And it lasts, again, this has been here for about a year now. It lasts for about at least a year because plastic will last for at least, yeah, pretty much forever without its natural enemy, weather. So long as it doesn't have that thing going against it, it has a good shot. What you have next to it is, well, before we get here, what you have next to it is for little ones. If you don't have, if you have like a pre-K and K kid who you don't really want them near drills, you don't really want them near anything like that, I have regular plastic containers. The ma'am here really likes sweets.
Scotty.
Really likes sweets.
Scotty's from Sam's.
He can clear these things like you wouldn't believe. And so we don't like to get rid of them. We use them for anything. Kids use them for containers, for little things, little objects. They're good for collecting. But what we like to use them for are planters. They have these little bubble things at the end of them that's really cool. You just slice off every other one and it becomes a planter, and then you flip the invert and it actually becomes a water container, and you have a planter that if you just sand the outsides of it, a little kid can paint, and it's a planter for you. And it's still hydroponics because you can let the kids water it and it'll suck up the water, and they can watch it grow. This one came from her house again. This again was also propagation. We took a whole bunch of cuttings, we just put it in some water, we let the kids go at it, we let them observe for themselves, rooting and roots and all of that, and that, right. So, these are all available if you guys want to take them, if you guys want to try it out for yourselves, if you guys want to see how it works in your classroom. We know our kids really love how this turned out for them. On to this one, we know a lot of companies tend to want to throw these away or donate them to people. And I know we got these from Sunoco actually, and they donated them to us, and we were going to use them for something else. But I came across on the internet self-watering planter on a much larger scale, and it got me thinking, well, why can't I do this like this? So just now, I did it like this. And it's essentially pretty much the same thing. I went to Lowe's and got PVC pipe. It's good because it's bendy. It's durable. It's one of those things that can withstand weather. It can withstand water. It can withstand dirt. It can withstand almost anything. And it's got good quality. It can be the funnel that we need the straw to be. All you actually need is an actual funnel to be that funnel-like quality that the top of the bottle to be, and 2 5-gallon buckets. You put a hole into the bottom of one, you drill some holes into your funnel so that you allow your plant to suck up water, so you allow your roots to take the water that it needs, and you have the opportunity for your plant to really grow on a larger scale than what it is as a sapling here. And same like how it is with that one, you just have your opening here so that it allows for a runoff. Okay, so that you're just not overwatering on any larger scale. So this here is just a model. The only thing I'm going to tell you is that you would just make sure there's nothing that's been chemically treated into this, because obviously whatever you are, you eat. You are what you eat. You wouldn't want anything chemically treated, because then you're eating whatever chemicals was treated in the containers. So this is pretty cool because this you can take with much bigger kids. This is something that you can do in like a shop class, or, you know, high school kids that, well, I think this is dumb because I'm a big kid and I've got, you know, I'm too cool for a soda bottle. Well, maybe you're not too cool for drills and hacksaws, and this was kind of complicated for the short amount of time that I did it, and I could have did it in a classroom period of time. That's the whole purpose that I was testing myself to do. I managed to do this within the 45-minute period that a classroom period setting takes. So, yay me. So, again, if anybody has any questions for me, awesome, because now Miss Jane has like tons and tons of these that I'm sure she'd be like,
well,
super
they didn't
happy.
actually come from me. They came from the city of Columbia. So the city, Samantha Yeager, I got them through her for you.
But even awesomer, because that's my mentor. So
There you go. She's
So-
awesome. You're right.
double yay me, because I got a lot of those that I think this is a good opportunity. Again, this gives kids an opportunity to take something big home. You want to try and plant a tree and take that home? Let's go for it.
Tree, a lemon tree.
You want to try and, you know, grow a small farm and you don't have a big plot of land, or maybe you live in an apartment and you're trying to just, all you have is a little corner that's sunny. This is okay. This allows your corner to grow. You know, it's a good opportunity. So, sorry I took up so much time, but thanks.
It's very good.
After everybody does their little 5-minute presentation, then you'll be able to go to any of us and talk in more detail about anything that you want to.
And this is for you to take this note.
Nice. Okay, David, on to next.
Yeah, I'm moving it.
Really enjoyed
take this room.
Very well. Well done.
Really enjoyed the lessons together, and really similar to what we did at St. John Newman. And we came up with this idea when we were covering a topic on ecosystems, and came to realize that for our eco-friendly club we needed to use some recycling products, and student Jen provided all this and kind of fit in our curriculum. So what we do is I already cut this one earlier because I didn't think I'd have enough time to do it in 5 minutes. So I basically have a knife, small knife, that I keep very safe in the classroom, and I never let the kids do this. So I just put a hole there like that, and then I put some scissors through.
We actually have extra box cutters, so if any people want to make, we have.
So I just cut it through, and sometimes it's a hit or miss. If you cut it in a different pattern, it might not really sit well. Okay, and then the holes are pre-drilled already. I already drilled them, and what I used was just this small knife where I made a hole through, and then I have a string that I put through, and the easiest way to do it is just take out the bottle top and put the string through, and then just try to fit it through there. But our lesson is 45 minutes, and this is the part that takes the students longer because they're trying to figure it out. So it works out fine for me. So then what we do is we try to fit that in there. This is perfect, and you want to make sure the string is up to where it stands straight like that. And then what we do is I have some sand that I actually put just a little bit there in the bottom. Then I have some potting soil that I just put right there. And then we take a couple of when you're putting this, it's very important to keep it straight. And then once you put everything and put bean seeds, and you can put a different type of seeds. All we've done is beans, so I've never experienced anything with tomatoes or anything, but we tried the bean seeds. I usually just put 2 because we don't want it to be overcrowded. And then you pull that, and then you can take that out, and I don't mind if I use the water. So you just put some water in there. And put it right there. And so in the beginning, we usually make sure that we try to make sure that this part is kind of a little moist, so that we just started growing. And then so we started out as growing bean seeds. Then I let the kids figure it out for themselves, and I told them, how can you create another ecosystem? So some kids actually decided to be creative and put in coral. They put stones in there and shells. some were creative and went to PetSmart and bought some fish, which you create an aquatic environment. And with this, you can teach a lot of topics in it. Okay? And for the 6th grade, we actually, after 2 weeks, we took out this and put it aside, and we did like soil, we did water pH and see how the pH was, and then we also took a portion of the soil in here and did a soil pH test, so that fits in the chemistry curriculum. And then also we use our vermicompost to. I usually let them just do it naturally for about maybe a week or so, and then after that we use the worms to show them that worms actually fertilize the soil and make it grow really good. And it's really interesting because they have a competition which one grows the tallest, and then once it starts growing into different directions, they start giving names to the plants, so it ends up being a really nice project. So it's pretty easy and very fun, and it's a project that doesn't just take 1 week. It takes about 3 to 4 weeks, and they enjoy it, and you can tie in a lot of topics in there. And one that we actually saw was the roots were really trying to grow. There's one I should have brought that the roots actually got out of the small hole and were going below, and so now you can tie into hydrotropism and all that. So it's really good. So I don't know if you guys have any questions.
It's a great project.
Okay, and he's got things for May can take over here later, so if anybody wants to make him take. All right, we have a team from Pontiac Elementary that is doing a really great project, so we thought we'd love to have you share what you're working on. Did you get 'em? I'll bring it up. Okay.
Well, we're actually Lego robotics coaches for our school. And this year the Lego robotics theme was called Trash Track. And the students were asked to reduce, reuse, or recycle as part of their research project. And our teams decided to synergize and get their projects to work together. And they chose to look at ways to reuse things for gardening. And it was kind of a long process to get them to figure out what they actually wanted to do, and they kind of tried to straight copy what other people were doing, and we wanted to challenge them to do something in a new way. So one team was going to build a greenhouse out of recycled bottles. They're actually halfway there probably. The other team decided to build something to use in the greenhouse, so that way they could show some effective synergy. So they wanted to be able to grow plants year-round at our school, because really the month of November, December, January, and February are pretty much difficult months to grow in the garden outside at our school. And we have a Green Steps committee at our school that's trying to amp up the gardening around our school. So we thought it'd be even better if what we were doing could then, even though robotics theme for the year is reduce, reuse, recycle, and we're going to do some gardening things, that it would then further on be something the school could use for many, many years. So one team wanted to use tubes, just the cardboard tubes from paper towels or toilet paper. And at first we were like, okay, that's nice. They wanted to just literally do this the regular way you've seen it used probably. The only real thing that they probably did that was probably unique was when it came time to figure out what to put in the tubes, we didn't want to have to go and buy soil because we were cheap. So I'm really not sure how the idea came about. At some point the kids realized you can make paper from these tubes by soaking them in warm water and tearing them into pieces. And then, I don't know, the idea came, okay, let's put it in a blender and see what comes out. So what's inside these tubes is probably the thing that's different. I think everyone's seen the idea of taking a paper towel tube and using it as a planter. What's inside these, and I'm probably going to ruin these in doing this, but we have extra. What's inside, and this was totally just an experiment. We had no idea how this would work. What's inside is just shredded up bits of cardboard. So they made their own dirt, essentially, for these plants to grow in. And what I think is kind of amazing is I've done a lot of gardening projects where we've tried to do seeding. They had almost 100% of their seeds actually germinate, which is incredible. Usually if you get 60 to 70 in whatever medium you use, you're doing a pretty good job. And I counted the other day, out of the, 36 tubes we made, we planted 2 seeds in each one, because we were counting on maybe 1 seed not germinating. Every tube just about has both seeds germinating. So we got free dirt because we had so many of these tubes. We did a recycling drive in our school, and we got so many of these tubes still at our school to figure out what we're going to do with. But all they did really at the bottom was cut kind of a pattern, folded it in, covered it with a little bit of tape, and then we made this, which is crushed up cardboard tubes.
Shredded and shredded and shredded and shredded.
So
and soaked.
It took a blender and a colander, and you just squeezed all the water out, and then they just took a handful, squeezed it really hard until it fit in the tube, and then we put the seeds in, and then we just kept them damp. Every once in a while we put a little more water in the tray, and I mean it was incredible. Honestly, I wasn't sure it would work at all. It was just, let's see what happens. So they ended up making their own dirt. So
what seeds are you growing? What are you growing?
These are cucumber seeds. We tried to do something that we knew would germinate quickly.
Yeah.
I think cucumber seeds, I think it took them maybe 3 to 5 days. Or I don't know. Honestly, a kid took it home over Christmas break, and his job was to text me pictures if it worked. And I got pictures like a few days later, and he was like running around his house going, it actually worked, it actually worked. So.
And he came back to break and he's like, look at this. And I was like, oh my God. Because it was kind of, we were just like, let's hope so. Because we have our competition on Saturday. We're like,
yeah, so they have to live for Saturday.
They have to make it till Saturday.
So they can take it to their competition. But anyways, these are our make your own dirt out of cardboard. And it's the same process as turning cardboard into paper. So if you've ever made your own paper, it's the same process, but it's easier because you don't have to have that screen and get the paper to be perfectly flat. Just make a big old ball in your hand, and there you go. And it's worked much better than I ever would have anticipated. So now we need to finish our greenhouse so we can put them in our greenhouse.
So if anybody has bottles, we're still looking for bottles.
Yeah.
We probably need about 500 more.
The competition might be Saturday, but we're not going to finish the project till the project's built. Our principal won't be happy if we don't finish. 2-liter soda bottles is what they're using.
But any kind of the narrow ones or just the big ones?
They've used anything that we've collected.
Are they hot gluing it? How are they putting it together?
What they did is they built a frame out of PVC pipe, and then they used that construction expanding foam for insulation, the insulating foam.
Yeah.
And you spray it in place, give it about an hour or two to set, and then you can just pull the frame up, and they stayed stuck together. I was worried that when they pulled the frame up, they'd fall apart. It's actually been outside in the rain and the cold, and it's actually the one wall we built still looks really good. We need at least 3 more to go. So, thank you.
Okay, Barclay School wants to talk about their Bunny Brew project. Okay. I don't know if they want to talk about it, but I want them to talk about it.
Well, all that we have right at this moment. I'm afraid all we have is we haven't done it for a year, and the reason is because we're moving. We've just moved for 4 days into our new location. But this is a project that was...
This is vintage brew.
So,
valuable stuff.
Edith and I were at a career low point. We got given some rescue bunnies and asked to take them in, and we did, and we realized all they do is poop. You shove it in one end, straight out of the other. And we were shoveling it like one evening, wondering, why we have all this education when all we're doing is shoveling poop. And thought there has to be something else we can do with this. There has to be something. So
our children had done the Junior Master Gardener program, and we knew that rabbit manure made a wonderful fertilizer.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we had an artist who worked with us for a while who collected wine bottles to build a garden wall for us. Well, he collected 300 or 400 wine bottles and then left before the
wall was built. So we had all of these wine bottles at the back of Columbia College. And we thought, they're really not going to like this a whole lot longer. So we've got to find some way to get rid of the bottles and make these animals pay for themselves. Because at that time we had 8 kids, maybe 6 kids, something like that, the school. And we had as many or more rescue animals, and we were paying for all the food and all that out of our pockets. And the day this occurred, the kids were all off on vacation, and we were having to come to work every day to clean up after all the animals and feed all the animals and all that. So we were ready for something to start coming together.
So we got the bottles, and we basically had a Nike sweatshop situation with the kids. The bottles had to be cleaned and scraped and cleaned, and we soaked them, and we'd sit together with buckets and clean the bottles. And then the kids, it's old, it's vintage.
It's an old,
But the
kids
kids designed the labels, and then we came up with the idea of a pom-pom on the back. Then an attorney told us that we might want to put something on the back because, I defy anybody to drink this, but apparently there are people who are so intoxicated that the smell
have no sense of smell.
So an attorney said, so we have, don't drink this unless you're a plant on the back, and hopefully that does it. Then we went and got South Carolina certification. The funniest thing of all was going to and getting it done by Clemson.
We have to do a tonnage report for the Bureau of Pesticides, and we have 2 rabbits. And they call us every 3 months. They go, "Okay, where's your tonnage report?" And we're like, "We haven't made a ton yet." So 0.
Maybe that never happened. The kids wanted business cards. It became their business. We obviously can't give
It was
business.
our math lesson.
Oh, yeah.
It was, there are a million different lessons in this. And we teach LD and kids with all kinds of special needs. And so we do a lot of project-based learning. So this was a great opportunity for us to combine a lot of that in the classroom. And we also have kids with autism who really need the socialization, and all of our kids need the language practice. So one of our goals, somebody said, "Well, you ought to try to sell this stuff." And one of our parents said, "I know somebody who's starting an organic nursery. I'd call them and see what." So we called them up and we showed it to them, and we said, "Would y'all be interested in selling it?" And they said, "Sure." And we said, "Well, how much?" And they asked us how much it cost to make it. And since everything was free except for the labels, we said maybe $3. And she said, "Are you kidding?"
$9.99.
She said $9.95 in our stores. And she said, "Hit these other places." We have 3 retailers in Columbia. And last year we were getting calls every week. "Could you please send?" And we're like, "Sorry. There's no supply right now. Y'all are going to have to go and
raise the demand." You see,
that's right. That's right.
All it is, our magic formula is poop and water.
That's right.
And so we got these big barrels, we put poop in, you put water in, and you stir it occasionally, and then you siphon it off. And the thing is, it can go straight from the bunny onto the garden. It's incredibly rich.
Won't burn anything. It's the only animal manure that does not have to be composted. It won't hurt your plants. You can put it directly on there.
The kids wanted business cards, which we couldn't kind of let them have. On the front is our breakdown of what's in it from Clemson.
Part of what you have to do to be a licensed
And then on the
fertilizer.
back, we let the kids... as I said, we had a Nike sweatshop situation. So some did the labels, somebody was responsible for putting this on, somebody was responsible for putting this on, and then we had quality control was one kid. But the funny thing was, it's a huge joke until we made at least 3,000 without trying, and then it got ridiculous. We went on the radio, and we were told, the local radio, nobody listened. Honestly.
Yeah, it's one of those tiny little stations.
Yeah. But still, she said she'd give us 15 minutes. She'd heard about it, and an hour later, she kept saying, when we went to the commercial, "Can you guys stay? This is hysterical." And, sure, we can talk forever. We don't sell it, by the way. We're a non-profit 501(c), so we never sell it. That's an ugly, ugly word. We ask for donations of $9.95.
However, if you know us and you really like it, if you will bring us your own container, like a cat litter container or whatever, we do Friends bottles, and we'll just fill it from the tap.
Yeah, we give it. I mean, we give it away to friends. But what was I going to say?
Really is.
I gave a bottle to a chap who was from Alabama. He was passing through, and what do I give him? So I gave him Bunny's brew. True story. 2 weeks later, he called up and said, "I'm back, and I want 100 bottles. Can you do it?" And we said, "Sure."
Yeah, 100 bottles.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we can go in Saturday and work ourselves to death.
We squeezed those bunnies, we fed them. I mean, we really did. They were a lot of pressure. 100 bottles. And then it gets better. Then we had somebody call us.
We had a woman call us from Louisiana about November, and we had taken the kids to the farmer's market a couple of weekends. And the kids had actually sold at the farmer's market. And so this woman calls and she said, I need to order some of the Bunny's brew. And we said, okay. And I said, you can come by and pick it up if you want to from the school, or you can get it from these local retailers. And she said, well, I live in Louisiana. And we said, oh. And she said, my sister was driving through South Carolina on her way back from the beach. And she brought me a bottle because I'm a gardener. She said, it is the only thing that restored my plants this summer because we had such a bad, we had a lot of weather problems, and she said they just weren't doing well. And she said, I have a bunch of friends who are gardeners, and I want to order a case to give as Christmas presents.
Do we ship?
Do we ship? Absolutely. So somebody's got to pay us. And so then we had to figure out how much does it cost to ship the stuff. So we started calling. Well, then there are problems with shipping fertilizer. But there are also problems with shipping anything that comes in a wine container. So you have to get through all this stuff. So it took us about 10 days to figure it out. And then we had to figure out that we had to actually order special boxes and it had to be handled specially and all that. So we called the woman back and we said, look, it's going to cost you like as much for the shipping as it will, almost as much for the shipping as it does for a case of the stuff. And she said, well, how much? And we told her, and she said, well, if I'm going to do a case, well, just send me, was it 3 or 5 cases or something? She spent $500 on this stuff, and we're going, we may have to go dumpster dive that before the truck gets there to get more wine bottles to put in there. It was hysterical.
But we had some problems though when we first made it, and I think we're good now. I kid you not, it would blow. And we had this wonderful woman from Columbia College, God love her time, came over to the school and bought like 6 bottles, put her under her Christmas tree. Oh yes, they did.
During Christmas,
they fermented. They kept on fermenting, and all over. She was so gracious. We gave one to a restaurant. Do you remember? At the farmer's market, and they had it up, when they were serving everybody, and it blew. So we learned that fermentation takes longer than we thought.
Not only that, it was really interesting because the people at the fertilizer department, we said, okay, so what do we do about this? And the guy said, let me talk to some of the other guys, like in the chemistry department and these other departments at Clemson, and we'll call you back. They called us back and they said, well, we've decided. Either you need to add vinegar or you need to add baking soda. And we're going, look, we're not chemists, but there is this doesn't make any sense. So we went to the beer making place and said, what do you have something to keep beer and wine from fermenting for people who do home stuff? And the guy said, sure. Well, the only thing that is not in this fertilizer from the label, and it has a special label because there's some kind of special thing about special fertilizers. And so their numbering system is virtually the same, but it's done on a different basis. And so the one thing ours didn't have from the label was potassium. Well, guess what? The thing we can add is a potassium-based thing to reduce it. So it actually makes our fertilizer look better.
And it doesn't explode anymore.
And it doesn't cause problems with the soil. Because we were like, I think if you add a lot of vinegar, a lot of baking soda, it might change the pH of the water. This might not be good.
Anyhow, we had T-shirts made up. We had a lot of fun with this, and
I have a T-shirt in the car.
And
it has a quote from Winnie the Pooh on the back that says, "Without Pooh, the adventure would have never begun." Or something.
Yeah,
there would have been no adventure.
Get it? I mean, a lot of people didn't, but we sold them. We gave a lot away. But we're going back into this because one of the things that we want to do is vocational thing for our children who, when they turn 21, have pretty much dropped from the system. Where do they go? Where do our special needs kids go? Well, our hope is we're building a community out there, and we're hoping that this will be a vocational product for our children so that they can stay at the school, work on this. We've already spoken to several people in Ridgeway who are willing to sell it for us again. There is also a hydroponic, huge hydroponic factory, or whatever you call it out there, and we've contacted them, so they'll give us the greens to feed the bunnies, so the bunnies will poop. And
the one funny story. We had a parent who called me, who emailed me, and he said, because we tell people it's rabbit tea. Well, rabbit tea is, that's the term for it, any kind of fertilizer tea. He said, we used to have a garden, and we kept rabbits, and we used rabbit manure on the garden. He said, how do you get them to pee in the bottle?
And that's our secret. But anyhow, that's Bunny's Brew, and
this is not for sale. This is old stuff that
and
has
it's
been
all-
sitting there, and the labels are
Help
bad.
yourself.
Anybody who wants to take some for your garden,
it's fabulous.
feel free. Take a bottle.
Don't
It's
drink
really
it.
good stuff. Don't drink
And
it.
please save for us, please drink copious amounts of red wine, because the
This
red,
shape bottle
the shape-
is much easier to put the labels
so
on by hand.
we love red wine bottles, so please drink a lot of red wine and give us the bottles and look for it on your stores. Woohoo! Yes!
Where's your new home?
We just moved to a farm just outside of Ridgeway.
Oh,
and
really?
We're in an antebellum house that is on 100 acres. We have pigs. We have homing pigeons. We've got bees. We're going to have chickens in the spring. We've got cats and dogs. We've already,
Rabbits.
somebody is
One
trying to give us miniature horses, and we've got a goat farmer who's going to come and partner with us.
Oh my God!
Yes.
All year.
We would
Anybody who's
absolutely
interested,
love.
We love to
have,
have people
I mean,
come
it was
for a
just,
field trip.
it was the luck of the Irish, as they say. But one of our board members had a spare antebellum house. And we needed somewhere to go, and so but it took us a year to get there. We had to go through zoning, we had to go through DHEC and do all sorts of silly things. But we've been in like 4 days. We'd love you to come for a field trip. We have 100 acres. We have a barn. We have
100-acre woods.
Yeah,
we have
Yes,
woods.
literally the 100-acre woods. Yes,
We have
I think
you know,
Winnie the Pooh is sort of
But
the
you're welcome
theme
to
for
come
our
because
school.
we can picnic outside. We have picnic tables. We have, we're incredibly, and we love to share. So
We're
out-
setting up gardens, so if anybody wants to bring a class to come
That's what
help
we're
set
doing.
up some garden, some beds or whatever, we love it.
So that's it. And we're going to get more bunnies. Thank you.
Well, they're not any fun at all, are they? What a drag.
They're hilarious. I just got a really quick project for Make and Take if anybody wants to. Their topic is upcycling. So I am upcycling bamboo, which is an invasive species here, and we're making pollinator houses. So these are for solitary bees and wasps, mason bees and leafcutter bees in particular will use these, and you just get a handful, about this many, turn them all so that all the open ends are facing one way because they do have a closed end and an open end. And you can tuck them into things like soup cans or bottles, but you can also just tie them together in a bundle. I've got some florist wire. You can duct tape it together. They only need to last for a season, but you make your bundle, put a hanger on it, and then hang it up in a protected place, preferably south-facing is best, and hang it somehow so that it's not going to blow around a lot in the wind. but I've got plenty of bamboo. I'd love it if you'd use it and make lots of bee houses and hang them up.
Awesome.
That's it.
Okay, very quickly, I just want to show some very quick things that I brought. I have teachers that say I don't have a green thumb, I can't grow plants in my classroom. Anybody can have plants in their classroom, and so Fort Jackson every year saves all of their creamer containers. Get somebody that you know that has creamer containers, and we just love to do these. You know, the top's already there, and these are just rooters. We never do plant them. These philodendron or pothos or any of these will grow forever in water. So there is no excuse not to have plants in every classroom. So basically this just, you know, here's what will happen. So the only thing you have to do if you've never done this is just make sure you have a nodule where you pinch it off and just stick it in water. And we love these because we've done these for Mother's Day where the kids try to decorate it to look like their mom. Or we've done them at Earth Day and they try to make it look like Mother Earth. Or they can make it look like themselves. Or it doesn't have to look like a person at all. It can just be artsy. Yeah, so, you know, so I have a whole bag full of these, so feel free to take one. We love it at schools if you're using stuff that's actually at school. So, you know, if you save these out of the teacher's room or whatever. Okay, another thing that I wanted to tell you about is that Lexington County has a compost project, and they have so much compost that they can't get rid of it. So any school can come and get truckloads for free. Now let me just tell you that their compost is high carbon. So this is basically wood stuff that they're grinding up. So you will need to add some nitrogen to that. And Rick Vandergeest, who is the new recycling coordinator, just talked to him the other day, and he's going to check with Clemson to find out, to give you good information about exactly what you should be adding. But I have just added fish emulsion to mine. Recently, this bag I've been putting my coffee grounds in because coffee grounds are high nitrogen. So I've done no scientific testing on this. I just experiment. So, but please keep that in mind. So if you're doing something, you can get all, and it's really good quality, nice and clean and light and everything like that. Okay, one more thing I want to tell you about is TerraCycle. Many of you have heard of TerraCycle. Some of your schools may even collect for TerraCycle and make some money off of things that you collect. Well, recently a store in Charleston was moving. They sell upcycled products, and they had way more stuff than they wanted to move. Anybody that's moved recently knows that feeling. So because of our networking, this is why EEASC is so great, is because we network with each other and find out who's doing what and who can use what. Several steps in between, but the City of Columbia partnered up and got these pots. These are TerraCycle pots made out of recycled plastic, and I have a stack of them here. Some of you signed up to get these and already have them, but if you didn't get one, or if you want to take another one, feel free. They also provided pots of paint, so you can paint them. These are the unpainted ones, so I think it's much more fun to paint them yourself than get painted ones. So those are available today if anybody wants to do that. Also from TerraCycle is a reuse project, and we have one of these for everybody if anybody wants to take one. So it's just the soda bottle, and you can buy these in the store, but this one's made a little bit differently than the ones I've seen that have the little grommets on the top and that kind of stuff. But really cute little bird feeders, just made out of that. So there's one of those for everybody if you'd like to take those. And yeah, lots of cute stuff. So we just set this stuff around, so be creative. And, oh, this is falling apart, but one year, a bunch of students made these bags for me, and I still have them in a container. So I brought them today, so if you have a bunch of stuff to take home, feel free to grab a bag. And, yeah, so they were really cute. The glue's kind of drying out at this point, so you may have to, this was a stack of National Geographics, and they decorated bags, so have a bag. I think that is it. No, I did that really fast because, yeah.
Let me introduce an upcycle here. This is Kelsey Whitaker.
Okay, we're actually going to go around and
Okay,
introduce everybody, but you guys can start. That'd be
Let me
fine.
start. Kelsey's over at USC. I found her, upcycled her from public, and she is in the, what program are you in actually? Nursing. But she's in the Green Quad and deeply involved in all of that, and the connections keep going. She brought me a copy of a paper that her roommate did, right? On the Earth Charter, which if you're not familiar with the Earth Charter, you ought to be familiar with the Earth Charter. So this stuff is going all around, and Kelsey's a pretty serious environmentalist, even if she's going into nursing. Maybe we're trying to convince her maybe that's not the best use of herself. But anyway, say hello, Kelsey.
You want to tell us quickly who you are and then we're going to go around the room?
I'm Mel Jenkins. Green Neighbors is my main claim, which is trying to get communities more environmentally focused, and just all kinds of things. I just moved my Sierra Club membership to North Carolina because of many things, and I'm going to be involving up there with the Aldo Leopold world and all that kind of thing. So much more to come.
Great. All right, you want to start and we'll go around?
My name is Tamara Warren. I work out at Fort Jackson, and I do sustainability, pollution prevention, environmental compliance, and hazardous materials. So,
And Green Congregation.
and green congregation. Yeah.
I'm Amber Kinga. I am a science club teacher at Whitman Road Elementary School.
I'm Chanel Williams with Richland County Stormwater Management. I do all kinds of water quality education for all kinds of audiences, from kids to professionals, and I co-facilitate the Richland Countywide Stormwater Consortium, which is a group of various organizations that all have a mutual interest in preserving water quality.
You've been pretty busy lately with the floods.
Oh, my division has. Yes. Yes, we have.
We'll skip over people that have already spoken. Okay?
Rocio Hero, I am preschool teacher at Bridge Creek.
Jackie Hall from Richland County Solid Waste and Recycling.
Shirley Mann, Richland County Recycling Coordinator.
I'm Mary Pat Baldock with the City of Columbia.
Sustainability Director.
Sustainability Facilitator.
Tamara Watson. I teach high school biology at Westwood High School.
I'm Lindsay Sheely. I'm a graduate student at USC.
I'm Leah Freeman, and I'm looking at my phone because I just got a new title. I'm now the Environmental and Earth Science Director at a summer camp in Maryland, and I also am a 4-H leader here in Madison.
Okay, I'm going to stand up.
Yeah.
I'm Weatherly Thomas, and if you don't know it yet, you're about to. In the past, we've had only Lexington and Richland have been dual counties for 4-H. Not anymore. I am the Richland County 4-H agent, and everything you guys are doing in class is 4-H. 4-H is not just agriculture, it's STEM, it's performing arts. Anything that a child does is that's positive youth development is 4-H. And so I've got some cards, and like today, did Technology Day at Catawba Trail Elementary, 590 kids, 5 stations of robots. Get the picture. But anyway, I'd love to talk to all of you guys about becoming 4-H groups in school. You don't have to do an out of school thing, and I'll convince you that it's perfect. Okay.
If you're involved in Green Steps, they coordinate. So if you're doing something with her, it can come as a Green Steps project as long as it meets our criteria.
I'm Eva Ferraro, Center for Science Education at the University of South Carolina, and also the Carolina Children's Garden. And I'm definitely going to tap this young lady. She is great.
And a marvelous writer for the Star newspaper.
That's
right. Open her up and check her out.
I still have clippings. I have clippings and clippings and clippings.
It's a weekly newspaper, and you can use it every week in your classroom. It's just marvelous. I'm Jennifer Mankey, and I am an elementary teacher at Harmony School in Forest Acres, and I have kindergarten through 5th grade in one room.
I've passed by that. A lot of them. Come on by.
Okay, well, what we hope is that you will network, find somebody that you would like to talk to. And in the meantime, if people that have brought our presenters, if you'll kind of go to a table with your stuff, so if they want to come and talk to you about, in more detail about your project. We've got all kinds of materials over here, so grab whatever you want in terms of pots and bird feeders and bags and
let me just add real quick.
Yes.
I wouldn't be in a rush to leave because you're going to be stuck in traffic. At least here you're okay. Yes.
May I have a minute of your time, please? Thank you. Okay. Bismillah, alhamdulillah, salatu wassalam. All right. Okay. First of all, I would like to really appreciate this opportunity, and I want to tell you, all of you today, congratulations.